and we'll get started with operations.
All right, good morning again, everybody. I'm going to kind of go around this fire and kind of tell you what happened yesterday. Before I start that, though, I want to tell you it was a very good day yesterday. The winds calmed down a little bit for us. It was still fairly windy, but not like the days previous. So a lot of good work was done yesterday. We anticipate today, with the lack of wind, things will go real good. Our weather forecast is calling for what we call a Haynes of 6. And what that means is that there's a chance of intense fire behavior, but we've got a lot of lines in place, and I'll explain that right now. So I'm just going to start at the heel where this fire started, and I'll just work my way around. So through Division Alpha, Charlie, and Foxtrot, they have actually gone direct right on the fire's edge, and they have hand line all the way up to the very top here. So they have a control feature there now. What those folks are doing in there today is they are mopping that up. They're taking away any heat that's close to the line and making sure nothing can get across the line. So there's still work to do in there to make sure it's 100% secure, but they are working at that very hard today. You guys know we have a lot of hot shot crews on the fire engines, all that stuff, so those folks will be working to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. As you come around down through this country into what we're calling Division Tango, all this stuff in here. This little area here, you can see how it's kind of, a little bit of fire out here, a little jagged, all this stuff. In this area down through here, they've been able to cold trail it, where the fire has been out for a few days. They go in, they check it, they actually feel for heat. It's been very successful. This is very cold through here. They've obviously put line in, whether it's hand line or dozer line, where appropriate, if there's still some heat in there, so it doesn't go anywhere. So this is all looking good through here. Come down to the 8039 road, or 8039 road, or excuse me, here's 8091, so a little further down. I'm sorry, just trying to get myself oriented on the map. So come down a little further down here, off the 8091, they actually grabbed the road here, and they actually have hand line again direct all the way along this finger right here. A couple days ago, this is the finger that got active. They were able to get in there yesterday with the lack of winds, and they were able to get hand line all the way around that and tie it back down into the 8093 road. So this is all tied in with hand line, cold trail, all the way back around to here. Continue along the fire here. They were able yesterday, this is really hasn't moved anywhere. It's in fuels that are real sparse. What they're going to do today is they're going to go in here and cold trail it and put in hand line where they need to, or dozer line. So that's one of the projects for today, is to work on this. Drop back around once again. This is all very sparse fuels. They'll do the same thing. They'll check and see if there's any hot spots and put line in where appropriate. Coming back down kind of around the south side, they were able to get some dozer line in here yesterday, about 1.5 miles worth. They're going to finish doing that today. So once again, by the end of today, this should be buttoned up. Day before yesterday, if you guys remember, this got very active along here. They did a lot of good work in there yesterday. They were able to get some dozers in down here by Alpha, and they actually pushed dozer line through this country. They're going to continue to do that today. They also were able to get a dozer in off the 8000 road, and they were able to start working back towards these guys. So at end of shift last night, there was a little gap right there, so they're going to go ahead and close that up today. Drop back down into this country, we had hot shot crews starting at drop point 60 right here, working up. We had 2 crews working down. They'll have that tied in today. So you can see the work that was done once we lost that wind yesterday. We were able to get right on the fire's edge and take care of that. So things are looking really good. Does anybody have any questions?
When you say hand line and the other...
Dozer line?
Yeah. Can you explain that?
Yeah, you bet. Hand line is basically, we have crews out there. They're actually with tools digging down to bare soil, no vegetation, making that fire break. It depends on what kind of fuels they're in, how wide they'll make it. If they're in thick, heavy fuels, they'll make it wider. If it's a little bit sparser fuels, they won't make it quite as wide. And then a dozer line is basically they put a blade down on the dozer on the dirt and just scrape that vegetation right off the top. All right? Yes?
So do you have any black line or containment?
Yes, we do, and we have this black line coming around here, and I anticipate by the end of the day, we'll have black line up to in here somewhere. And the reason we hesitate on putting it on right away, we wanted to make sure the winds were down, and we want to make sure the crews got this all mopped up. So you'll start seeing some black line for sure on tomorrow's map. Any other questions? Yes.
So what is the expected containment then, if you have the black line in there?
Yeah, we still got to pay attention to the weather. We still have to do all that. I don't want to give you a drop dead date in case weather changes. Today with the high Haines index, which means fire can lift and be very active. We're going to get through the next few days, and then you'll probably start hearing what we call the glide path, when we think we'll be wrapped up and be able to turn this back over to the local agency. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Okay, next up we'll have Dan Sullivan with our air operations.
Hello and good morning again. I'm basically just going to reiterate what Todd said. The winds ended up finally breaking yesterday, and we were able to get just about all of our aircraft in the air and be able to support the guys on the line directly. So as Todd's folks are on the ground digging line and stuff, we're coming in with helicopters with water and cooling the fire's edge down so they can get right up next to it and put hand line in. So yesterday was a very successful day in aviation. We also used the DC-10, which is a relatively new heavy air tanker, which holds 11,000 gallons of retardant. We had 3 drops on the fire yesterday with that, and multiple other air tankers. We also we have 4 Type 1 helicopters that can hold roughly 1,000 gallons of water, and most of those timed out yesterday, flying 7 to 8 hours. So it was an extremely successful day, and we're looking forward to the same thing today. So yes, with this winds calming down and everything, it really allowed us to get out there and support the ground troops. When the winds were blowing like they were the other day, it's not safe to fly aircraft that close to the ground. So that's why we had the certain parameters. When we hit a certain wind speed, we have to ground our aircraft. So yesterday the wind cooperated and it gave us a good day to really make some progress. So any questions? All right, thank you. And looks like Marty Cole with safety.
Morning, everybody. You heard about the winds yesterday, the winds the day before. The winds are going to get a little calmer today, which creates some other hazards for the firefighters on the ground. I spent my day yesterday out in the field talking to several of the divisions, several of the firefighters. One of the things that kind of caught my eye from one of the divisions, he says that the wind was blowing so hard the first day they were out there, the wind was actually blowing the fire out, which amazed me. He said it was quite an impressive thing to watch. Some of the things that, the hazards that we have out there, you know, are the driving. The roads are dusty, they're steep. A lot of the folks that are trying to put in some hand line down in this country, the country is very steep in there. Get a lot of rolling material, a lot of rocks. Some of the things that we live by, we call them the 10 and 18. 10 standard firefighting orders and 18 situations to watch out. Some of the things that the main one that's a little bit smaller, it's called LCES. It's lookouts, communication, escape routes, and safety zones. So lookouts are folks that are watching everybody that's in this. So there's folks that are posted around here watching what the fire behavior is doing, watching what the weather's doing, taking weather observations all day long so that these guys on the ground can kind of anticipate some of the hazards that exist out there. Communications, set up our own radios so everybody on the ground can listen to what's going on. Maybe these folks over here might have a problem. These folks over here will hear that and understand that. Escape routes and safety zones. Escape routes is an avenue to get away from the fire in case something down here occurs. They need a way out. So they establish those escape routes. to a safety zone or a safe area. Some place where that they can be safe while the fire moves either by them or over them or around them. One thing was kind of unique. I met these guys several years ago. They're from Montana. They're a fire safety lab. They're down here doing a study on safety zones. And what is a safety zone? How big a safety zone needs to be. So these guys, I met them a couple of years ago. They put out instruments in the fire's path to measure what that intensity of the fire is, so that they can keep these guys on the ground safe. All right? Thanks.
Thanks, Marty. There's one thing I want to go back to. I forgot to mention at the start of the meeting. I know several of you have paid real close attention to our maps. Well, this morning as we were waiting for the new map to come up, we had a power outage. So our large map, this is still yesterday's map. I can tell you that the fire has only grown a little over 200 acres. So you wouldn't see a lot of difference on the map itself, other than, we are going to start looking at putting black lines on there and showing the containment. So I wanted to let you know, I forgot to mention that, and I knew you would catch it. So with that, I want to bring up Rose and have her make a few comments.
Can I just give you a permanent marker, a black one, and we can start drawing it in? Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to just thank the team here. That's one of the issues that has been brought to our attention, is just a number of communications or issues that we've been having with technology. So one of the things that we've been having to do with both of our teams is communications, internet capability, phone capability, and I'm not sure if we've been able to square that away, but IT teams have been running back and forth between these two buildings. So in order to make things a lot easier for everybody, what we did on our side was we moved out of that area. And thank God we didn't completely move into that space, but we moved out of the area, we went back to the EOC to make sure that we were able to, again, get the communications up and running. So one of the things that we have is the numbers that we're posting. We're going to go ahead and post more numbers this afternoon, or as soon as we get back, actually. And those numbers to the EOC is 505. It's the same number for those of you that have worked with us before. 505-371-8416, 8417. I want to make sure that I get those two numbers out first. So again, 8416, 8417. The other thing that I just wanted to share was just the fact that these guys have been great. We're still working with them. And again, if I can just reiterate the fact that if you're from the Navajo Nation, you will, again, give us your information, resource listings, so that I can go ahead and provide those resources to Ben and Dawn and continue to go ahead and make that collaborative effort. When it comes to one of the things that I did want to share with everyone, as we are going to keep this brief, we want to keep it short because it's keeping us from being able to provide direct services to our people. One of the things that we can do after this is go ahead and talk about some of the things specifically for Navajo. But again, also one of the things I want to share, since everybody's here, is that we did, due to popular demand, we finally set up, and we want to thank the Navajo United Way, we set up a monetary fund account. And I know there's lots of smiles out there. Thank you. I want to thank the Navajo United Way. They set up a Wells Fargo account, and that relief fund is a Sayet Lake Fire Relief Fund. So that is the official monetary donation site, and that's also officially through the Navajo United Way. So again, I just want to thank everybody with that.
Thank you, Rose. I want to let you know an addition that we have today. We've got Nadine with the Navajo Housing Authority here. She's going to give a video presentation that's a homegrown product by these folks that will give a visual view of the fire as it relates to all the surrounding areas. So that will follow our Deputy IC comments from Roy.
Good morning, and thank you for being here. We have witnessed a bit of history with you in the Navajo Nation here on this fire. This now is the largest fire in the record-keeping history of the Navajo Nation. Now, with that, I was here on the Togalena fire and was able to witness for the first time the beauty of the Chusca Mountains in a little different area. But this fire is no less on the Chusca Mountains and in an equally, if not more beautiful area. But in witnessing this historical event, I want to draw our attention to some of the factors that may have been present for this to occur. We know that the weather is a variable. We just witnessed that the last few days, but the long-term weather seems to be that we're in a little drier period of time. That's one of the main factors that has propagated or allowed this to happen. I spent yesterday up on the mountain with Dwayne Kewa, one of the ops chiefs, just listening and looking and touring and listening to the firefighters who, once the wind subsided and they were able to get on target lock on some good objectives up there, there was a lot of efficient and safe firefighting going on to put a perimeter check on this fire. There's a lot of work left to be done. One of the questions we got this morning at the morning briefing, or after we came from the morning briefing from a local citizen, was, so I can see smoke, how's the fire? We're going to see smoke for a while. And in an effort to get around it, even though we're going direct, there's some areas that, for the safety of the firefighters and the efficiency of the firefighting effort, by connecting the dots, there's going to be a need to put a little more fire on the ground up there just to keep our firefighters safe and be efficient in our actions. So that smoke will be short-lived, but the long term of over 13,000 acres up there, it's going to take a while for that smoke to go away. One of the factors in our favor in that has been this wind event of the last 3 days. Because with wind, the fuels that are on fire tend to consume and burn up more readily, and the smoke goes away quicker. So those are some of the factors. It's humbling to be a part of a historical event, but it lets me know that our park here, the real forces that have formed the beauty of the Chusca Mountains, the forces of nature, of wind, water, and fire, are still in control here, and we have a very high regard for that, for the safety of our firefighters and the safety of the people of the Navajo Nation. We must keep that in high regard. Thank you.
Thanks, Roy. Okay, that's the end of the presentation from the team. Are there any final questions for the team that we can answer for you this morning? Yes, sir.
I know we're going to get questions about the fire retardant. Is there any help or things like that, and SDS on those, or what?
That's all been researched and covered, and there are no issues there.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no other, oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So what is the total acreage?
It's going to be just under 13,500 acres. 13,448. So we got a new map here. Yes, sir.
Hi, I work with the Natural Resource Conservation Service. So two things, if there's any efforts or any preliminary talks, I know it's a little early, about the rehab of the area, I'd like to speak to somebody who might be in charge of that or thinking along those lines. The second issue is I was at this might have been covered earlier, I was at the briefing in Notch City yesterday, to a packed chapter house. So there's a lot of confusion about the structures that were burned, and I don't know if this is something you can cover here, but there was people that had a lot of questions about, okay, which structures have burned, but the more important issue was the coordination between the team and the Navajo Nation Police Department. There was 14 that was reported from Navajo, and you guys are reporting 4, but yet unconfirmed. So there's a lot of confusion about that and a lot of grief by people on behalf of the people, because they want to, of course, they want to know exactly what the numbers and where those burn areas are. So is there any clarification on that at all?
Yes, we had a meeting yesterday with the Navajo Police Department, and we talked about those discrepancies. I can say at this point, we have 5 that have been identified, but please understand, it's a continuing process. A lot of area out there, a lot of structures out there, so we're trying to be real careful with that information for the very reasons you expressed. So we will have a formal announcement. I do not have that information with me right now, but I can assure you we're working on it. We just want to make sure that the information we provide is accurate. But we did talk with Navajo Police Department and got that ironed out with them also.
Thank you.
So we're in agreement and working together. Yes, sir.
Have the number of threatened structures gone down?
Number of threatened structures?
Right, so last couple of days we've been hearing that 50 structures were...
It has not necessarily gone down. There's still a lot of activity in the interior, that we've got to wait a little bit before we can assess all the areas, so we're not adjusting that number. But again, as soon as we can get a final number, we'll make it.
Exactly where is the main fire located?
Well, Todd, can you help me with that?
Okay, so the majority of what we're dealing with active-wise fire is this stuff that's along this bottom right here. But once again, they were able to get direct on that, and they did lay retardant in there yesterday, so that's helping them out. The other area would be in this area, but they've got, like I said, they've got that line. But those are kind of the points of concern at this time is along the south, but it's looking really good. I want to make sure everybody understands that we're looking good through here. And then this little point out here that was active a couple days ago. Does that answer your question?
That one, who will give the okay for people to go back up? You might as well know in advance who gives the okay for anybody to go back up. Maybe check on their property.
How it works is through your emergency management. Rose, we stay in direct contact with Rose, so when our operations discusses that with her, the announcement will come from her.
Is there any idea about when Mount 34 might be reopened at all?
We're going to probably look at that.
I think one of the original dates we had set was to look at that on Friday. So we will reassess that road and that whole area there on Friday. Tomorrow? Kind of lose track of stuff. But, yeah, we'll take a look at that area first thing tomorrow and make an assessment and decide if we can allow that to be open. Okay, well, thank you very much. Like I said, we're going to be setting up for, hold on just a second.
I think this is important to let you folks know this. For all the people that have been out there, including myself, all the leadership on the line, the crews and stuff, we have not seen any livestock that has been damaged or killed in this fire. So I'm not saying that they're not out there, but we've had people all over that country and the livestock as well. They're moving around. They're finding water sources. I've seen horses and cattle at water sources out there. So I just wanted to share that with you folks.
Okay, thanks again. We appreciate it. We'll continue with the same meeting tomorrow, same time.